neutral zone. Cardinal after it. Big hit by Conroy.
Lead pass for Howard-Chuck. Howard-Chuck runs into a check. He goes down as he's hit by McCallum, and he's hurt.
Granado skating away with it. Granado. Richardson nailed him, and he is cold on the ice. Sutter out of the box. Chelios brought it in. Look at Hextall come out after Chelios.
17 seconds left on the Samuelson call. A great hip check by Clanendorst on Cardinal. He caught it with his hand.
Hockey, the fastest game on earth. Speed and artistry plus the added element of body contact. Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Bowen, and this is hockey's hardest hitters. They say the game of hockey is a contact sport, but really it's a collision sport. We all remember the big games, the great plays, but what gets talked about more by those who really love this game are the great hits. You're about to see some of those hits and hitters in an entertaining half hour of hockey's hardest hitters.
17 seconds left on the Samuelson call. A great hit.
Heads up. It's a phrase in hockey you don't want to hear if you're a player because it usually means you're going to get hit by a truck.
Hit by Conroy, and Cardinal is not getting up yet.
Muller, Samuelson had a hold of Muller's stick, wouldn't let him
Watch
go.
out, Ilka.
Oh, he was a blindsided. He had his head down, and he's down on the ice. What a shot against Ilka Sinisalo.
Tikkanen shoots it in. Anderson's on the fly. Wesley has
Sometimes when your head's down, you get buried.
Nailed by Kevin Lowe, but the puck gets down the ice.
That's Granado skating away with it. Granado. Richardson nailed him, and he is cold on the ice.
Welcome to the National Hockey League, Tony Granado. Next time, keep your head up. Luke Richardson's making a name for himself in this regard.
Back for Montreal. Lemieux is nailed, heard by Richardson, and he's still on the ice. Play called. Lemieux head down for a second. That's all it took.
You might remember this from a few years ago. Jamie McCowan says hello with his stick.
And he's hurt.
By Wesley, puck now in the corner deep, fought for by Kumpel, Casper, Wesley. Ooh, oh, he is buried. Oh, what a hit. The Bruins break it out.
Even the great ones have to get hit once in a while. That's a rarity for Wayne Gretzky. Bill McCreary made a name for himself. Ouch.
Pennyworth.
Le Grand Mario is a little bit bigger target.
And again.
And he may get hit just a little more often than Mr. Gretzky. If you can't stop him legally, why not trip him? That's smart. Even the lesser lights have to pay the price. Far too often it brings about instant retaliation.
His first appearance in the game.
Watch this.
For New York.
Nick Cotillo got a pretty good piece of Mr. McCarthy.
Ran into the Vancouver Canuck players at McCarthy. Oh, was that a check?
Lead pass cut short, and Gustafson is run hard.
Not every hit is legal. In fact, a lot of them are cheap shots. Rule of thumb, don't turn your back on your opponent.
Result in a broken back or a broken neck. Look at the way Gus's head hit that sideboard. He just looks like they're going down. And
Ben Gustafson was very fortunate he wasn't seriously injured by Ken Danico. Danico back at it. This time with Joe Patterson of the Flames.
This was a good hit by Danico, a clean hit, but Patterson was just 2 or 3 feet away from the boards. Another one of those cases where the impact of the boards did
Watch
more damage
Mr. Patterson's
than the hit
head
itself.
right on the edge of the board.
Right here coming
The
up,
Rangers' Michel Petit gives Ken Linsman of the Bruins a going over. First the elbow, and there's the stick for good measure.
5 minutes. Petit is a very lucky boy. That's a high stick as well. A butt end in the face type of check.
Watch as Kevin Lowe starts looking at the puck, and Mark Hunter arrives on the scene.
Behind the net.
Except for that helmet, Kevin Lowe would have been very seriously injured.
With a solid check is going to be penalized, and this could start trouble. I didn't see who went down.
It must have been Kevin Lowe. He usually is out there with Craig Mooney, and
That must be him.
the trainer is calling.
Lowe
for
looking
some
at the
more
puck.
help.
First Hunter, then the glass, and then the ice. Hello, anybody visiting in here? Shane Corson finds the penalty box.
Petit, watch his stick up there. He tries to spear, or look like he tried to spear Michel Petit. Now Corson goes in, a high stick on Mullen. Oh, man.
Sometimes if you don't score, the next best thing is trying to score someone else.
Peterson backboard. Now Ulf Samuelsson is sent spinning into the net. The net was dislodged. Everyone taking a shot at Marsh. Apparently he was the man that hit Samuelsson.
Brad Marsh doesn't score many goals.
Now Samuelsson is chasing the puck.
He doesn't score with many people either.
See what it is. He cross-checked him into the net.
I mean, if you're a forward, you want to cut into that area.
The goal mouth area is where you pay the price. Just ask Guy Carbonneau. They said Gordie Howe had good elbows. How about that one?
Hurt. It's up slowly.
Watch Joe Sorella give Mr. Basson a little bit of the elbow.
For the penalty box, there's Basson and Sorella right there. There's nothing. So far, bang. Oh, my goodness, I guess. An elbow.
Dale Hunter of the Washington Capitals takes a page out of the wrestling handbook. Joe Neuendijk into the turnbuckle. The ultimate of the cheap shots. Flyers and Rangers. Dave Brown and Thomas Sandstrom. The National Hockey League did not look kindly upon Mr. Brown after this incident. He served a lengthy suspension for one of the worst cheap shots ever. Thomas Sandstrom standing in front of the net, and all of a sudden along comes Dave Brown in the cross-check.
Sandstrom wasn't looking at all. He was looking to the corner, and here comes a cross-check right to the...
One of the game's biggest stars, Mark Messier, involved in a cheap shot. Watch Messier's stick. Rich Sutter of the Vancouver Canucks gets nailed. That cost Rich Sutter 4 teeth and Messier a suspension. Messier, the stick, and Sutter.
Took a look at...
Speaking of cheap shots, watch John Kordick of the Maple Leafs try to comb Keith Acton's hair.
That was interesting because Ron Asseltine knew something was up. He almost threw a pretty good body check on Kordick.
Kordick and Acton.
You have to belong to the Acorn family to pull a stunt like that.
Oh, yeah? My mother wears army boots? I don't think so. Herb Brooks and Jacques Demers trying to get at one another. Don't let me go. Don't let me go. I'm fine here. I'm fine here. I got my glasses off. Let me at him. Let me at him. Don't get away. No, I don't want to get... Oh, don't, hang on to me. Hang on to me. Oh, come over here. Come over here. After all of the collisions and the contact, sometimes cooler heads don't prevail. And the issue is decided with fists. In this case, Nick Petiu and Marty McSorley are deciding it with shadows.
Definitely a heavyweight bout.
Talk about sparring.
Nicky does have that one-punch power, so I'm sure Marty's going to stay back and wait for it.
From the fight that wasn't to the fight that was.
Be the toughest guy in the league. And
Bob Probert of the Detroit Red Wings and Craig Cox of the Vancouver Canucks.
I think we're firing up a way to be safe.
The officials say, let him go.
Probert and Cox slugging it out. Couple of tough guys. A lot of right hands. You score it.
As a linesman, you don't want to get between those two.
And actually throw punches. You know, some guys like to hang on and wait for the referees or linesmen to get in there, but not these two. They're going at it, punch to punch. How long is this going to last? Craig Cox, Bob Probert. The fans are standing here. A lot of them saying how they hate fights in hockey. They don't mind if the home team guy wins.
Watch Jack McElhargy, the Vancouver assistant coach.
Jack McElhargy loved it.
From ringside, we score this one even. The Vezina Trophy going to the National Hockey League's top goaltender and the so-called tools of ignorance that go along with the trade. There's an unwritten rule in the game of hockey that says goaltenders are exempt from physical contact, but unwritten rules are many times broken.
The zone and on the right wing side, breaking in.
Rick Wamsley pays the price with the Penguins' Zarley Zalapski colliding with him in the goal mouth.
And look at the head of steam he's got on Gary Suter. And here's the collision with Wamsley. And we thought for a while it might be the lower leg, but he was right
Calgary
down.
defenseman Gary Suter doesn't help by shoving Zalapski into his netminder.
Zarley Zalapski short of his body.
Here's Bob Froese of the Rangers. And that was Chris King arriving at the same time. Watch King getting a bit of a hack from Michel Petit. And Bob Froese gets it right on the chin. Detroit's Greg Steffen goes down like a sack of potatoes thanks to Captain Kelly Kissio of the Rangers. Quebec's Mario Gosselin decides to come out of the net. That was his first mistake. The Canadians' Brian Strudlin takes the pins out, and Gosselin goes up and over. One more look at it. Mario Gosselin almost becomes planted. Darren Pupa of the Buffalo Sabres and Mike McPhee of the Canadians, along with the goalpost.
Into the goalpost. And now Hogue will go to the penalty box, and Pupa has been injured.
Darren Pupa's left leg just cannot stand the pressure of the bigger Mike McPhee. Watch his left leg.
Pupa's down on his knees, and oh, wow.
Ouch. Talk about ouch. Doug Keynes goes back of the net. So does Bob Probert. So much for that unwritten rule, right, Doug? A little safer in the goal crease than it is back of the net. Let's watch the replay. There's Keynes. Here comes Probert. And there goes the helmet. Brian Hayward of the Montreal Canadiens finds out about the unwritten rule, too. That's Gord Donnelly. Now all Mr. Hayward wants to do is get out of there before they start fighting on top of him. Right from behind. Ouch. As more goaltenders venture from their crease, they find they get involved in the action a little bit more. Hello, Mr. Froze. Ron Hextall, though, has taken it upon himself to get even for every goalie that's ever been hit. This time it's Thomas Sandstrom of the Rangers.
Down that right side. For the net is Troy Loney.
Troy Loney finds out what's going on in front of the net with a little friendly love tap from Ron Hextall. Ever since he arrived from the Brandon Wheat Kings, Hextall's picked up where Billy Smith left off. Greg Adams of the Washington Capitals gets a carving.
Adams gets sticked in behind the goal.
And this is by Hextall.
Hextall had that big goal stick out there swinging around as he tried to almost fend Adams off.
But is Myers giving Adams a penalty?
Not only has Ron Hextall won the Vezina Trophy and the Conn Smythe Trophy, he's also had over 100 minutes in penalties in each year since he's arrived in 1986.
Whacked that by Ron Hextall. That was trying to keep...
Actually 26 seconds. Krushelnyski. The Huddy, his shot. Hextall to save. And Marty McSorley pushed at Hextall, and that will start something.
Here, now Hextall comes out to play the puck. It's just like a defenseman. McSorley just gives him a shove. And there's Hextall with the
most famous Hextall slash, Stanley Cup playoffs. Just ask Kent Nielsen.
Nielsen in front of the net. Let me tell you what happened, Dan. Hextall made a save. The puck was loose around his pads, and Glenn Anderson swiped at the puck with his stick and missed the puck and hit Hextall. Did not hurt Hextall one bit, but it upset him. And he reacted and just saw the closest and first Oiler he could find and chopped him, and this is just a bad play.
Getting upset is something Ron Hextall does rather well.
The puck was loose. That doesn't hurt anybody. Now watch what he does with his stick. He's going to look around, and he sees Kent Nielsen and bang in the back of the legs. And that is just a bad play, and it's dreadful for a guy that is a great goaltender, has a lot of talent, has played very well all season long, and he's just blowing his image right here.
That image wasn't enhanced in the 1988 Stanley Cup playoffs. This hit by Chris Chelios on Brian Propp early on in the series touched off the temper of Ron Hextall in the final game of the series. Ron Hextall decided to take it upon himself to get even with Chris Chelios.
Look at Hextall come out after Chelios. That was an intentional offside. It came out over the line. Chelios.
A great goaltender, Ron Hextall, with a short fuse.
Charged out of the net. He looked at the clock and saw a minute and 37 seconds left. And just barreled after Chelios, who has been the target, of course, since earlier in the series when he hit Propp on the boards and into the glass, and he was out of the series for a little while.
Well, there's Samuelsson and Mats Naslund, two Swedish players, really, and Naslund making motion to Samuelsson, and he's upset. And boy, you got a bad scene on right now.
Guy Lafleur, Marcel Dion, Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux. Recipients all of the Art Ross Trophy. In the National Hockey League, they reward the top scorers with this trophy, but hockey's hardest hitters get nothing but the satisfaction of that bone-crunching hit. That is until now. Here are our top 10 hockey hits.
Muller, Samuelson had a hold of Muller's stick, wouldn't let him go. Oh, he was a blindsided. He had his head down, and he's
Alan Stewart of the New Jersey Devils and Ilka Sinisello of the Philadelphia Flyers are number 10 on our top 10 hockey hits.
Now watch Sinisello. This is the cardinal rule right here. Don't look down at that puck. Oh.
Remember what we told you about keeping your head up? Ilka Sinisello learned the hard way. Bang!
For Montreal, Lemieux is nailed, hard by Richardson, and he's still on the ice. Play called now. Lemieux head down for a second. That's all it took, and boy, was he hit.
Luke Richardson of the Maple Leafs makes number 9 on our list as he makes contact with Claude Lemieux at the Forum. Goaltender Doug Keens of the Boston Bruins is number 8 on our list because of Bob Probert of the Detroit Red Wings. Ouch. Bill McCreary played only 12 games in a Maple Leaf uniform. He'll never be forgotten for his hit on the great one, Wayne Gretzky. You don't catch Mr. Gretzky with his head down very often. Bill McCreary did. Cam Neely loves the heavy going. Dave Tippett found out. The Bruins' tough guy is one of the better open ice hitters in the National Hockey League. Tom Laidlaw runs Al Iafrate out of room to be number 5 on our list. Into the turnbuckle. Oh. Anyone see my helmet? Wendell Clark and Bruce Bell behind the net. The Blues thought the Leafs were changing, and they were, except for Clark.
The expense of not playing Messier. Now with 9 minutes.
Now number 3 on our top 10 list, Mark Hunter levels Kevin Lowe back of the net. The Oiler defenseman taking it first from Hunter, then the glass, and then the ice. And Kevin Lowe is out cold.
That's Granato skating away with it. Granato. Richardson nailed him, and he is cold on the ice.
Number 2 on our top 10 list, Tony Granato getting nailed by Luke Richardson of the Maple Leafs.
Richardson, once a game, he catches you. This time it was Tony Granato. And he looks like he's in sad shape on the ice, Granato.
Timer goes well wide and whacked back into the neutral zone. Cardinal after it. Big hit by Conroy.
And that is number 1, Steve Conroy of the Chicago Blackhawks, leveling Jeff Courtnall of the Washington Capitals.
Man lined up all the way.
Ouch. You certainly earn your money in the National Hockey League.
And he sent Courtnall sprawling.
Feeling a little bruised and battered? I know I am. We hope you've enjoyed hockey's hardest hitters, and we invite you to see our other cassettes, Great Plays from Great Games and Hockey's Greatest Moments. But remember, keep your head up.